Today, I break out my crystal ball to try and predict the future once again with my way too early 2027 first base rankings. How high does Nick Kurtz rise, and how far has Vlad Jr. fallen?
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. I am your host, Dominick Martino, and I continue my way too early 2027 ranking series today, and we hit first base. An interesting position. In my personal opinion, first base is probably going to be the most loaded position heading into 2027. As I was, doing my 2027 rankings and I got to first base, I was just like, sheesh, this position is just stacked with talent. This might be one of the positions we can actually wait at in 2027. So as we go through it, I know I'm going to hear it in the comments because I've already been hearing, oh, you forgot this guy, you forgot that guy. We can only do 12. There's only 12 and that's it, and you could sound off in the comments. We could debate there. I'm going to start off with my #1 first baseman for 2027. I don't know if there's going to be debate here. Not for me. I'm standing on this one. It's Nick Kurtz. I think a healthy Nick Kurtz is definitely hands down the best first baseman in the league. We've seen some of those elite guys take a little bit of a step back or just a step in a different direction. I don't think we can deny Nick Kurtz much longer. Through 352 at-bats before he got hurt this year, he had 62 runs, 21 homers, 69 RBI, 7 steals, hitting .256. I think the injury had a little bit there at the end to do with, some of the downswing. But last year, Nick Kurtz, as a rookie, broke out at age 22, 117 games played, 420 at-bats, 90 runs, 26 doubles, 36 homers, 86 RBIs, and hit .290. I don't know if Kurtz is going to be a 290 guy consistently, but I think he's going to be closer to 275, 280. He has good plate discipline. Even this year at 79 walks, 141 strikeouts. The power's legitimate. I think he's going to be consistently over 30 home runs. There's no reason to doubt what Nick Kurtz can do, and I think this Athletics team is trending in the right direction with their young talent. So I think that lineup's going to be better around Kurtz. The pushback here is, yeah, you got the Olsons. You got, a guy like Ben Rice who's going to come up later on today's episode, and even a Pete Alonso. I plant my flag in a young guy like Nick Kurtz. You're going to have to take him early anyway. You might as well just take him as the #1 first baseman because that combination of average, power, and counting stats is going to be unmatched. He can even, steal. He's proven this year he can steal a few bags, up to 7 steals on the year. Kurtz is out the rest of the year, and it's not like the sprint speed is super fast or anything, but he's willing and capable of stealing a bag here or there as well. You look at his underlying stuff when it comes to like barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, bat speed, finding that sweet spot, walk percentage. He's above the 90th percentile on all of those, and then even xBOBA. So all of those, the underlying stats point up in the right direction for Nick Kurtz. The one thing is just the batting average. Does he wind up being a mediocre batting average guy? It's possible, but as you kind of move down the list here of, these elite first basemen, there's not a lot of them that are really crushing it in the batting average department. By all means, there's some of them that are, doing better, than others, but nobody is absolutely crushing it in, that once again, that batting average department, as far as my opinion anyway. But I digress. I think Nick Kurtz is a solid pick here as the #1 first baseman going into 2027. I think these next 3 guys, I think we're going to see a lot of people plant their flags in different players. I'm going with Nick Kurtz. Everyone might not agree, but we can argue in the comments. At #2 for my 2027 first baseman rankings, I got Matt Olson, Mr. All Reliable, Mr. Super Consistent. He's getting a little bit older, but another monster season for Matt Olson. 512 at-bats so far, 91 runs, 36 homers, 77 RBIs, chipped in 4 steals even, and a 260 batting average. Matt, like I said, Matt Olson, we kind of just know who he is. We know what we're going to get, but plays almost every game, every year. Is getting a little bit older, but I still think he's, at 33, I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff next year. I still think he's going to be, over 30 bombs, good counting stats. The batting average isn't going to hurt you. He's been pretty consistent since even he had a bad 2020, but his whole career, he's a 257 guy, and that's with some really bad batting average seasons in there. He had 247 in 2024, but if you take the last 4 years, also in 283, 247, 272, and 260 this year. So I think it's going to be a plus in the batting average department. Obviously, the bomb skis are going to be there. 36 this year, which is up from the last 2 years where he had 29 and 29. The runs are great this year. The RBIs are going to be great. There's nothing not to like from Matt Olson. Very reliable, very safe first baseman. So I think that's the play there, right? And then, the guy I have third, I think, is arguably, could be the number one first baseman as well. But I think it's just the safeness of a Matt Olson, for me, puts him at 2. The upside play with Kurtz of, having that monster season where I think Kurtz can even hit like 40 home runs and just, be good across the board, where Matt Olson getting a little bit older, that decline might start to hit a little bit next year. I still think he'll be very good. I always say I'm not play the upside guy early in drafts, but Kurtz is very enticing to me, and I think Matt Olson's the safer play. If we have to take Kurtz like in the first round, I might step out on Kurtz. But, Matt Olson's great value as number 2 first baseman. You can't be mad at that. I do want to talk about this next guy, Pete Alonso, man. Having a great year as well. In his own right, 81 runs, 31 homers, 89 RBIs, 5 steals, batting 276. So Olson takes a step in the right department in the batting average this year. You love to see that over in Baltimore. Another guy that's just getting a little bit older. He's going to be 32 next year. And actually, this is his second year hitting 270 in a row. I like what Alonso brings to the table, and it's definitely early. It's way too early to be for being firm with rankings, right? I think with rankings, you kind of want to be fluid. You want to be like water. You want to be able to move and adjust. Pete Alonso, man, hasn't hit under 34 home runs since 2021, and then in 2020 the shortened year he had 16, so that doesn't even count. Alonso's been super consistent too. Somebody that the batting average I think is going to vary a little bit more than Olson or Kurtz. You look back at 2024, Alonso hit 240, and 2023 Alonso hit 217. He's a career 255 hitter though. I like Alonso. The power is going to be elite. The counting stats are going to be elite. It just really comes down to the batting average. He's not really going to steal too many bases. He's tied his career high with 5 this year. That's not something I'd be counting on, though, with the Pete Alonso. I just like that he adjusted well to Baltimore. A whole career with the New York Mets, 7 years. This year, being his 8th first year in Baltimore, adjusted well. It's a great year for Alonso, the polar bear. He still keeps himself in that elite tier at first base. Olson or Alonso, that's a preference call, to be honest with you. I think Olson is a little bit safer. I think the floor is a little bit safer. Alonso, the upside is a little bit higher in a way. I hate to say that Alonso could hit more home runs than Olson, but at this point in their careers, it's honestly a toss-up. So, you kind of just you take your guy there. You take your guy, whether it's Olson or Alonso, and you're not mad at that. Where is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on this list? Going to be real interesting to find out. And all right, folks, baseball fans, if you think you know who is hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with everyday's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before the first pitch. Sometimes it's a hitter who's been on a hot streak, a favorable pitching matchup, or even a ballpark that tends to give up a lot of home runs. Me personally, those are the things I'm looking at before I make my Daily Dingers pick every day. So are you ready to play your game? If so, join the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer, play ball, and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. I just want to say a quick shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. We truly appreciate all of you. And we appreciate everyone sticking around till the end of the season. And, we're trying to get you those fantasy baseball championships. Sound off in the comments if you're in the playoffs this week, next week, how your season's looking. If we helped you at all, we would love to hear about it. But up at number 4, the big breakout first baseman of 2026. It's Ben Rice. I love me some Ben Rice. Ben Rice was like a big name in the fantasy community coming into the season. Everyone was kind of predicting the breakout, and hey, it happened. Ben Rice, 80 runs, 34 homers, 82 RBIs, 3 steals, batting .249. Would love to have seen a little bit more in the batting average department for Ben Rice, but if that would have meant sacrificing more of that power, I don't know. I mean, we'll take it, right? Rice did have the great year last year, but I do truly consider this year, the breakout with the over 30 home runs, already over at 80 and 80 in the counting stats. He did hit 255 last year. I know a lot of us like the underlying stuff for Rice is what was really pointing in, hey, he might be able to, be better in the batting average department. So that's why we looked the way we did. And even if you look at it this year, batting average 261. There's still room for growth, I believe, with Ben Rice in that department. In this Yankees lineup, tough year with Judge being injured a lot, no Stanton for most of the year. Ben Rice had to be that guy, and he's really stepped up to the plate and just done really big things here in New York with the Yankees. As I'm recording here on August 26th, he's homered again, so he's up to 35 homers on the year. There's a chance that Ben Rice gets to 40, and I think it's a good chance that Ben Rice gets to 40 bombs. Hopefully he gets that batting average up a bit too. Over his last 6 games, he's batting .261. He's working his way in the right direction. Ben Rice starting to heat up again. He loses that catcher eligibility on Yahoo that he had that carried over from last year. He's just strictly going to be first base. I think on all platforms now, unless somehow somebody still give him that catcher eligibility, but I doubt it. So it's going to be interesting with him just at first base. I got him at 4, kind of like a Matt Olson or Alonso light. But I think it's going to be a 40 home run threat, 100 RBI threat. If he gets that batting average up to 260, it's going to be fun times for Ben Rice in 2027. I love him. I'm a Yankee fan. You see me decked out in the New York year. So Ben Rice for me at 4 for my way too early 2027 rankings. I digress. Let's get on to number 5. 5 is a tough one for me, man. This is a spot where I think you could debate a couple of guys too, but I'm going with all reliable Bryce Harper at 5. Another great year for Bryce. 83 runs, 26 homers, 75 RBI, 7 steals, batting .265. Just another real reliable first baseman. Somebody else that homered again today on August 26th. As I'm recording, so make that 27 home runs. Bryce Harper probably going to get up to 30 home runs again, finishing up the year real strong. His last 27 games, Bryce Harper has 21 runs, 5 homers, 14 RBIs, a steal, batting .319, batting .390. Bryce Harper is over his last 12 games, seeing the ball well right now. Going to finish the season with over 90 runs, probably close to 90 RBIs, over 30 bombs, hitting probably 270 plus. Just another great year for Bryce Harper. Put it on the board. Top 5 first baseman for me going into 2027. I kind of want to get through a bunch of names today, potentially even work outside of the top 12 because that's how deep first baseman is. So I'm kind of just going to keep things a little bit shorter as we, go on with these names. I have a couple of young guns at 6 and 7. A little bit of a pun intended there. Sal Stewart works his way up. Another, if Ben Rice wasn't the biggest breakout, Sal Stewart's got to be it, right? Sal Stewart, monster, full first season in the bigs, right? Got a cup of coffee last year, full first season this year. 74 runs, 28 bombs, 99 RBIs, 12 steals, batting 263. I know he retains first. I don't know if he retains second and third as well. That would be awesome. Been an anchor in the Cincinnati Reds lineup. I love me some Sal Stewart. If you want to argue for him being even a little bit higher, I could see it, right? If you want to take him over Bryce Harper, I'm not even mad at you about that. I might even wind up ranking Sal Stewart in that spot as well. The thing is, let's be a little bit critical here. If the RBIs take a step back, because this Reds team really a couple guys underperformed that should have been a little bit better. If, the batting average comes back, he's the X batting average is 256. It's not off from that 263, but if he falls like 250 or under, that could be different. He plays half his games in Great American Small Park, which is why the power kind of plays up. But if you look at the hard hit rate, way he squares stuff up, he chases and whiffs a lot. Just a lot of underlying numbers that it could be worse for Sal Stewart. Obviously, still an elite option at first base coming into 2027, but there's a world where this doesn't look as good as it does for Sal Stewart next year as it does this year. Hey, listen, I don't argue with me. Argue with the statistics and the underlying stuff. Great year from the kid. I love him. I honestly might so this is the thing with rankings, right? I'm gonna just be real candid with you guys. As this is something that, one, like I said earlier, rankings are fluid, something that you should be like water, be able to move and adjust, be critical of yourself and be able to move on. I understand being able to plant your flags and guys, but it's super early in the offseason, right? As I look at this guy compared to the next guy I'm going to talk about, because once again, Sal Stewart has been healthy pretty much all year, 510 at-bats, great numbers. This next guy, you look at, so what, Sal Stewart 6, I have this next guy once again 7, another young gun, Jack Caglione of the Royals, man. I love this kid. I think there's a world where Caglione, I don't want to say the number 1 first baseman in 2027, but he could pass. I think Caglione could pass Stewart, Harper, maybe even Ben Rice. Maybe there's a world where Caglione's a top 4 first baseman in 2027. I'll tell you why. 434 at-bats with Caglione, 59 runs, 22 homers, 60 RBI, 6 steals, batting 276. You look at some of the underlying stuff for Caglione, X batting average 280. X slug 96 percentile, average exit velocity 97 percentile, average barrel percentage 92nd percentile, hard hit rate 98 percentile, bat speed 98 percentile. The kid's elite in everything you want him to be elite in. A Paul Goldschmidt light, like a prime light Paul Goldschmidt, where he could hit 35 homers with 10 to 15 steals with a 280 batting average and great counting stats. Caglione's going to be the big breakout for me in 27. I'll say that. I will have as many shares of Jack Caglione in 2027 as my drafts allow me to have. This is the kid I'm planting my flag in. I think I will find a way to rise him up my first baseman rankings as, we get into the offseason and I really deep dive everything and, I really, start to nitpick my own rankings. Caglione's just one name that he's impressed me so much this year. Played through injury at times, even working his way back from an ankle injury, playing today as I'm recording on August 26th, batting third for the Royals. But one of the best young hitters in baseball. Great, just a really great young hitter that I think we should all keep our eyes on for next year. But before we continue this list with names like Freddie Freeman, and once again, where is Vlad? And just a big thank you to our friends over at Amazon for this limited break. This back-to-school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. We all know how crazy the back-to-school shopping experience can be. It starts with a few items on the list, and suddenly you're shopping for supplies, clothes, lunch gear, tech, and about 10 other things you didn't see coming, and it adds up fast. That school supply list, when you look at it, you're wondering if you're shopping for one child or if you're opening your own office supply store. Nobody realized that first grade required this much inventory. And shopping like this, it can get out of hand fast if you're not careful. And we didn't even talk about the first day outfit yet. Your kid spends days planning that perfect first day of school outfit because they want to make a great first impression. And then you end up putting almost as much thought into it as they do. At least those first day of school photos are going to be worth it. So remember, with Amazon's low back to school prices, just spend less on your kids because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar that you save. Shop back to school at Amazon and spend less on your kids. All right, guys, and this is for me an interesting position at first. Now, after Caglione, I don't think there's a lot more sure things. I think this is where we start. You could start poking holes in a lot of these guys easily. Freddie Freeman is up next after Caglione, so Freddie Freeman falls in at 8 for me in my 2027 way too early first baseman rankings. It's just the age. We're seeing the decline of Freddie Freeman. It's sad. One of the best first basemen of the last 10 years for not only fantasy baseball purposes, real baseball purposes as well. 485 at-bats, 63 runs, 15 homers, 61 RBI, 6 steals, 299 batting average for Freeman. Not bad numbers, but not elite numbers anymore. I don't think Freeman's going to have the power that he used to. In this 37, he'll be 37 next year for Freeman. I think the batting average will still be solid. The health, we're not going to be able to rely on that next year for Freeman. Freeman will probably be somebody I'm avoiding for the most part in 27 unless the value just gets really, really good. But how much is he even going to run next year? It's just going to be a situation where, like I said, Father Time remains undefeated, and I don't think Freddie Freeman's going to be an exception to the rule. We might even see his first non-All-Star appearance in 6 years next year. In my personal opinion, he'll just this is a respect ranking. You got to throw Freddie Freeman in the top 10, because the production is still somewhat good, but I just think I'll be throwing my flag in other players. So Freddie Freeman at 8 is more of a respect ranking than anything else. Let's go to somebody who I'll probably wind up pushing ahead of Freddie Freeman. I'll be honest with you. It's Munetaka Murakami of the White Sox. Love what Murakami does. I know it's been a bit of ups and downs this season. So like I said, somebody could poke holes. In only 97 games played this year and 349 at-bats, he has 30 home runs. Well, 29 home runs and 349 at-bats, 97 games. That's a lot. 69 runs, 13 doubles, 58 RBIs. The 72 walks to 143 strikeouts is not bad walk to strikeout ratio. The 221 batting average leaves me wanting more. I think Murakami, he plays 150 games. It's 50 bombs. I don't see any way around that for going to be 27-year-old next season. Going to be one of the big power plays. Has that Kyle Schwarber kind of profile, but can he get that batting average like 240? If Murakami gets that batting average of 240, he flies up the rankings. Because it's 50 home run kind of power. This White Sox lineup, I don't think it's going to be great for production, but he's got 69 runs through 97 games played this year. That's not bad at all. And the 58 RBIs is not a slouch either. Murakami, I think, like I said, Cagliano's going to be my favorite pick for 2027. Murakami's not far off. I think Murakami, depending on where we have to draft him, I'll have a lot of shares of him as well. Going to be somebody that I think has I don't want to say breakout next year because he kind of broke out a little bit this year, but once again, if that batting average gets up to 240, 250 for Murakami and there's the 50 home run kind of power here, it could be really fun to watch him in 2027. And it's already been fun to watch him this year. Let's move on to number 10 in the rankings. Murakami was 9. At 10, I have Luis Garcia Jr. of the New York Yankees. Great year for Luis Garcia Jr. Kind of like rebuilt himself as a player in a way. I don't think anyone. I don't think there was anyone on this planet that would have told you that Luis Garcia was getting 30 bombs this year. I just didn't see it in his profile. I didn't think he was capable of this kind of power. Always looked at him as a little bit more of a speedster than a power kind of guy. But hey, at age 26, he's kind of grown into it, right? 27 bombs this year through 122 games, 424 at-bats for Garcia Jr. 56 runs, 85 RBIs, 4 steals, 283 batting average. Garcia bounced back in the batting average department big time. Love to see that from him. I was big on Garcia going into the 25 season. Kind of took a step back after, a little bit of an underperformance last year, but he's taken a step right back into the right spot this year. You love to see it. Another guy that gets first and second eligibility. I think he retains both. Let's see if I could find that real quick. Appearances. 16 at first. All his appearances will come at first this year in DH. So he probably won't retain second. So another guy that, just has that first base eligibility. But a lot of power here in that Yankees lineup. The runs and RBI should be good too. We can steal bases every now and then. The batting average, he's always been a good batting average guy. Luis Garcia Jr. might be like a sneaky pick. He might be like the sneaky fall under the radar kind of pick for 2027 because I don't know how high people are going to rank him. Like, you got the Murakamis. Are people really going to take Garcia over Freddie Freeman? And then you kind of just got that like my personal top 7. I don't know in my head how debatable I am on those guys, but we'll see. This is a great young player who wound up in a great lineup that's going to only be better next year with the healthy Aaron Judge, hopefully. But Garcia, even today as I'm recording, Luis Garcia Jr. batting 3rd in this New York Yankees lineup, which is not bad. He went 4 for 5 on August 25th, 3 for 4 on August 20th. And he's been hitting cleanup and 3rd consistently for the Yankees. So you just love to see that. It's a great spot to be in. But once again, we're already at 10. And I promise you Vlad's in the episode. Vlad's in the top 12. But guess what? He's not 11. I have Yandy Diaz at 11 for my 2027 way too early first base rankings. Yandy Diaz, just another consistent guy. 76 runs, 19 bombs, 72 RBIs, 3 steals, batting .303. This is the reason you can wait at the position. If you don't want to take one of the elite guys, I do not blame you. You can make up those stats in other spots and, get yourself a Yandy Diaz, who I think will go really, really late in drafts next year. I don't think anyone's – actually, let me preface something. I think Yahoo will give Yandy Diaz first base eligibility next year. But he's played all of his games at DH this season for the Rays. So we'll see how that goes. He's also going to be a bit older at 35. So if he falls off this list, I'll honorable mention to Alec Burleson, who may have taken this spot. But Vlad comes in at 12. How the mighty have fallen. There's rumors that Vlad has been playing hurt this season. But I feel like if you just look at his career, it's been a decline of sorts. He had the monster season in 2021, first full-blown season in the bigs, 48 bombs, but they weren't playing in Toronto. It was a minor league park. Had a good season in 2022 with the 32 bombs, 274 batting average. kind of fell off a little bit in 2023 with 26 bombs, 264 batting average. In 2024, MVP caliber season from Vlad with 30 and 100 and hit 323. But last year, again, kind of looked like he did in 2023 with only 23 bombs, 84 RBIs, did have 96 runs. But what's going on this year with Vlad? 118 games played, 443 at-bats, 62 runs, only 7 bombs, 46 RBIs, 7 steals, batting 262. I know he's only 27, but, not a super spring chicken anymore for Vlad. He's going to be 28 next year. Is this a trend, right? Is this the last, once again, the MVP caliber year in 2024, but 2, 3, if you include this year, 3 out of the last 4, very questionable kind of years for a guy who's a first-round talent. And I could sit around and break down Vlad for even longer, but I don't have a lot of time left for this episode. I'll say this for Vlad. Can we talk about him over guys like maybe Murakami and Luis Garcia Jr. and possibly Freddie Freeman? Yeah. I am not taking Vlad Jr. over Caglione, Sal Stewart, Harper, Rice, Olson, or Alonso next year. Just not doing it. You couldn't talk unless he got red hot here at the end of the season. I don't even think he's hit a home run in Toronto this year. He just does not hit well in that park. I digress. I can do this all day, but you know what? That's all for today. Shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. It's truly appreciated. We're available on all social media platforms and any way you can watch and or listen to videos for those of you on the video side of things. We send you over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel and audio. Make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB Game Night. But guys, until next time. So